ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to another episode of We Create Music. I am your host, B. Vaughn, and today we have producer, musician, and engineer, Steve Chase. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Man, I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, sir. Representing the STL hat.
Representing STL, man. Born and raised, man. Born and raised. I've been here for 20 years though, but you know, I can't forget my roots. You know, that's where I became, you know, who I am, and I just, you know, brought that with me, you know, to Atlanta.
That's what's up, man. So talk to us about how you kind of got started.
I've pretty much been a musician for most of my life. You know, when I was young, my dad bought a drum set for my older brother. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it turned out I spent more time on it than he did. You know, my pops would tell me how to, you know, to get off of, you know, because to let my brother get on it. But he was, you know, here or there. And so I was always either, you know, beating on something or trying to find some way to create music. My pops was big into Andre Crouch back in the early 80s. And I found myself singing along to the Andre Crouch records, you know. So it was just I was always just music. Going into middle school, with grade school, I didn't. I don't think we had a music program, but by the time I got to middle school, it was concert band. I played bass clarinet, coming up in concert band, and so did that for 3 years. I had fun with that, playing overtures, and you know. I remember the marching band we was playing, I think we played some tune by Michael Jackson. Was it Bad or something? We was marching and doing a little two-step, and I'm out there with my bass clarinet and marching uniform. But that was fun, man. And got to high school, and then it was, I still stayed with the bass clarinet in concert band, but in marching band, I started playing drums too. Okay. Because I always had, you know, like, again, I had an affinity for drums, and I was a snare drummer for freshman year and sophomore year. And then junior and senior year, it was bass drum. So marching band, drums, concert band, bass clarinet. And so it was always music for me. And I never had, you know, it wasn't until years later to where I actually had, you know, something to actually make music on. But that was that was my start. And I pretty much went to after I graduated, I started making double cassette deck.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Look, y'all don't know what them double cassette beat tapes and stuff. They don't know about that.
I'm trying to run it down. I had one of them, you know, little Casios, them $75 Casios. You got your double cassette deck, right? So you plug your Casio in through the mic jack, and you know it's got the little pre-made beats in it.
Right, you're so generic too, right?
Right. So I would record that for 4 minutes, and that's going to the tape, right? After I got that recorded, put that tape in this deck, then record that beat to another tape. Meanwhile, I'm laying another track to the metronome. So now I got the do going. Now I'm laying the kick, boom, 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 and that's how I layered beats. Then I would take those two tracks, put it in this deck, record it over to the other deck again, and lay a third track, and that's how I would layer beats. Back before I ever had something to make beats with.
That's super creative.
So that, you know.
Yeah, that's
the start.
That's super creative. I mean, people got to do what they got to do to get started, but that is super creative. Though. I don't think most people kind of back for some people, probably you don't even remember double tape decks, right?
Right. What is that?
Unless you like Radio Raheem, but
exactly.
But no, that's super ingenious to take the Casio and to run it through that and to do the recording. Kind of like. Now, I never used the old tape that people used to use back in the day, right? So I don't know how that whole process works, right?
You mean like cassette tape?
No, like actual tape.
Or like real?
Yeah, real tape. When they would actually make music way back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, so it's I guess kind of the same concept around there somewhere. How you do that?
Yeah, kind of. You know, but when I first got that, when I first saw the MPC, right before right before I got to Atlanta, right before I left St. Louis, my older brother had a buddy who was into this and that, and he knew that I made beats, and somehow he came across it was '98. I think the MPC 2000 came out in '98. You know, that's the step down from the 3000, and you couldn't afford it. I mean, the 3000 was like $3,000 probably.
3,000 was right.
2000, you know, probably $2,500. 19 years old, I can't afford nothing like that. But anyway, so they made the scaled down version of 2000. That's $1,500. That's still a lot for me at that age. But my brother's buddy had one, and he called me over to his mom's flower shop, which is where he he was helping her run that. So he's in the back with the MPC and the stereo, making beats. And when I saw that thing and I started messing with it, it was like you remember the Simpsons episode where Homer, I think when he first started drinking beer, and it's like, where have you been all my life? That's the moment I had right there with that MPC. So soon after that, I left St. Louis, and as soon as I got a job, I went to Mars Music up by the Big Chicken.
Yes.
And it ain't that, I guess somebody bought them out, but that's the first thing I did. As soon as I started working, I went to Mars and put an MPC on layaway. And now, that's when I started to take off. And really go crazy with it.
That's what's up, man. So you've been on the MPC, I'm pretty sure, the entire time.
Pretty much, because now I'm using the live, and it's a little bit of a departure to the old workflow, but it's still the same, kind of tape machine, stop, play, record type of thing. Then it gives you the four clicks, and then you start playing. So the basics, the core is still there, So I just once I get used to something, I like to stay with it until I master it.
Okay.
That's just kind of my mentality with most things.
So do you think with all of these, I'll call them groove boxes, right? Whether it's the machine, whether it's the new line of MPCs that they're coming out with, they came out with the small MPC Studio Black.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So they came out with that, and of course you still got your big classic MPCs, and then you got your push, and now you got, I guess, the one for FL that they got now. It was kind of like we had hardware.
Force,
I think it's the Force or the Fire or something like that.
Yeah.
So they, because everybody was on hardware. Then when software came out, everybody started to switch over to software and kind of leave the hardware. Yeah. Right. And so now you see there's a emergence of going back to software, or at least blending of the two, right?
Right.
So like the machines,
right.
And so now you can use the machine in conjunction with the software, and it kind of gives you that that feeling like you're using hardware, but in tandem with using software as well. So for you, you kind of just been on the MPC the entire time, right?
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of a fanboy in that regard. I only stopped using my 2000 because it still takes floppies, and you can't even buy floppies now. So when they finally upped their game, and because really a machine took a lot of MPC people, and they went over to machine. Machine took a lot of. They did some damage to the MPC because they were updated, and you can now use it in conjunction with your computer and not just save your files on your computer, which a lot of people are doing anyway. And so, but before I made that leap, a guy came out with something. I said, okay, let me stick with what I know, and
right.
So that's basically how it happened. But yeah, man, the software thing. like Fruity Loops. I see why. For a long time, I was like, remember, back when when people were talking about Ninth Wonder, and said, he makes beats on Fruity Loops, and the Fruity Loops is that. But of course, the beats he made was dope to this day. And then somebody kind of will let me use a copy, and I said, you know what? I see what it is they like. It's powerful, user friendly, it's fast. And they done took it over the industry, really. Like the sound of modern music is FL Studio.
FL Studio.
So now the machine and Akai is kind of trying to, in a way, trying to mimic the sound. Everything is distorted and compressed, and everything comes out slamming like bricks. So now there's a blending of the hardware and software and trying to bring everybody together. And it's this is an exciting time to be a music creator.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Man, you'd be surprised how many people sat in this chair right here and never asked the question how they got started. Oh, a friend of mine gave me Fruity Loops. I started off on Fruity Loops. Back in the day, we had Fruity Loops, and it was always It was very rare that I would hear anybody use anything else. I had one guy. He was like, I started off on Live, started off on MPC.
Right.
I started off on Live, and then switched over to Reason. But the common theme is FL.
FL, man.
Now I have FL.
I've done a few beats in there. Yeah, I've done a couple.
I broke down and purchased it. Don't ask me how many times I used it though. Maybe once.
One time.
Maybe once.
So are you a machine guy or?
I'm a machine guy. I love machine. I use it in conjunction with Reason. But yeah. I hated the machine at first. Oh man. I hated the machine because I didn't like the Mark II. I just didn't like how it looked. I didn't like the functionality of it. I didn't like having pressing all the the shifts and everything here to do whatever it needed to do. I didn't like any of that. So I bought one used because I didn't know if I was going to like it. And I used it a little bit and took it back and no, I don't like this.
Right.
And then I bought a MPC Studio Black, the little
black one. Yeah,
the little black one, the desktop. Yep, I bought that one. I used that for a bit. I didn't like that. I took it back. I took it back. I didn't like the workflow, so I took it back.
Right, yeah, it's crazy. And that's the same software they use, that the Renaissance uses. I think the Renaissance and the Studio, all of those, it's the same software.
Right.
So,
I don't like that.
Yeah, if you don't deal with the software, the controller doesn't even matter.
Now, the sounds I love.
It has some good sounds in it.
I still got all the sounds.
Go ahead and make a folder and put these. Yep.
So I still got all the sounds, and so I made machine kits out of all the Akai sounds.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
Hey, I purchased I purchased it and all the sounds. So why can't I just keep the sound? I took it back and traded in for the Mark III. The Mark III I love. Yeah. So I would encourage anybody if you're looking for. So I know you're on MPC, but I would encourage.
Is this a 3?
That's a 3. Yeah. Wow. Oh man, get that. That thing is a monster. It's amazing. So get that. So
I've been seeing knots be killing it on that thing, man.
You know who really kills it on this not MPC, the machine? Black Metaphor.
I'm not up on that.
Man, oh man. Black Metaphor kills it. Yes.
Now I got somebody to look up.
Oh yeah. Man, look at all that. So for those who don't know, like when we're doing this taping right now, it is pouring down raining.
It's raining.
Here in Atlanta. It's been raining for at least 3 or 4 days straight. Non-stop in Atlanta.
Crazy.
I feel like I live in Washington. I live in Seattle.
But when I was off, the holidays were good though.
Christmas Day was amazing.
It was, man, it was
like 68 degrees outside.
Crazy.
Crazy. I was like, what's going on?
As soon as I went back to work, pouring down rain.
That's right. So you got from St. Louis, you eventually came down to Atlanta. So kind of talk about your experience just getting involved in the Atlanta music scene. What were some of the challenges, some of the things that you had to deal with?
The challenges were, I guess one of the big ones for me, it was really being more social. And I don't know if that's a product of, I think it might be dual, a byproduct of maybe my generation. Not, because, when we were young, we didn't have, social was going outside to play, and also being in that town, there weren't a lot of outlets. There were some, and we're grateful for the few that were there and that may still be there. But when I got here, now you got the only people I knew was my 2 brothers. Okay. And so what my tendency was to basically reach out to first person I saw. And now that I think about it, I got the MPC out of layaway, and this was this was '99. So I don't know when people started recording to Pro Tools and computers, but we didn't know about that yet. Excuse me, we didn't really know about that yet. So, in fact, there was still something called Cakewalk.
Oh yeah, and people still use Cakewalk
people
today.
still use Cakewalk
Today.
So, but I didn't even know about Cakewalk at that time. So I had got a little Roland 8-track recorder, one of those little. It's called Roland BR8. So I got the MPC home, and then maybe a few months later I got the Roland. So okay, now I'm gonna start recording. I literally hooked up with my neighbor because that's back when I used to smoke a little bit. So I hooked up with him and said, "Hey man, let's do something." So I started recording with me and my neighbor, and he was a hardcore down south dude, Adamsville, Georgia man. The real southern type of dude. Bass music, straight. And I really, in St. Louis, I don't know, like we never considered ourselves the South. And I never...
Oh, no, straight Midwest all day.
We never considered ourselves the South. But when I came South, now I see like, okay, it kind of is the South, or people kind of do consider it the South, but we never, when we was there, we never thought of ourselves as being the South. So I didn't really, it was I had to warm up to the Southern, Southern thing because, even though I'm from the Midwest, we came up listening to, the East Coast, me and these my brothers. It was De La Soul, it was Tribe Called Quest, it was Pete Rock and CL Smooth,
Jungle Brothers,
man.
Oh man, yeah.
And on the West Coast, we was listening to of course Snoop and Dre and even Too Short. In the South, now this is still young. I'm coming up. In the South, I guess, before Outkast, it was Luke and 2 Live. You doing the basement part, you gonna play some 2 Live crew.
Yeah.
So
DJ Magic Mike.
Oh, you remember Magic Mike? There you go. DJ Magic Mike. Oh, please, Rodney on Joe Cooley. Yes. Okay, we getting a little old up here.
Okay, we showing our age. We gotta back it up. Right.
We gotta back it up. So I don't know. We just, but my brothers, I kind of followed my big brother into hip hop.
Okay.
And so this was mid to late '80s. I'm younger than 15. He's almost 3 years ahead of me, so he's big into LL. So he's they doing the Kangos and the track pants and all that stuff. So I kind of followed him in, but he went from that into the native tongue thing, and so I pretty much in high school it was the at first it was the patent leathers and baggy pants and polka dot tie and the Gumby.
Yes.
We did all of that, man.
You walking around like you Kwame, but
exactly.
Yes.
I was doing that in high school.
Wow. Yeah.
And we was doing that in high school. And now we had friends who was into the more southern sound, but we just, I just didn't get into it. So when I got down here, it was kind of from then until now, really, it's been kind of a, how do I bridge the gap? How do I be, still stay Midwestern or, like I just love the East Coast sound, but how do I do both? How do I bridge the gap? And give you that southern bass, give you that bounce, but also give you the music that I love to do. The grooves and the melodic stuff, the jazz stuff, the soul stuff. So that's been my my progression even to this day.
Okay. Nice. So I'm assuming that in your musicianship today that you're still playing the bass, clarinet, and the snare drum and the drum. You're still utilizing those tools.
I don't, I don't even know where I would buy a bass clarinet, but I'm actually I'm a bass player.
Okay.
I play electric bass. That's my main instrument. I did that in church when I got to. I started to play bass before I left St. Louis a little bit, but when I got down here, I ended up I was at work and somebody approached me, say, "Hey man, yeah, I heard you play bass. I gotta, my reverend is looking for somebody to come and sit in the pulpit."
That's what's up.
So when I did that and started to play with other musicians in the church, then I really got good.
Mm-hmm.
I really got better. And so bass is my main instrument. And also listening to those Outkast records really got me into it. That's what got me into bass. Listening to those early Outkast records and those guys that because they, talking about bridging the musical gap. We're gonna be here if I start talking about organized noise, you're gonna be here all day.
Yeah, I mean, because they were geniuses with what they did.
Yeah, man. I mean, just the mixing East Coast style drum patterns and drum sounds with the Southern, the organs and Fender Rhodes, and they have somebody, on the bass and just, that sound is really, it really overtook me because before I heard them, I wanted to sound like Pete Rock. I wanted to sound like DJ Premier. Mm-hmm. And they changed it for me. Like they really came. They just really changed it. And so hearing those songs is what really made me pick up the bass and get serious with it. And that's I still use bass in a lot of my recordings today. And I can still do drums, but I ain't got a set, so I'm super rusty. But yeah, bass and drums. I play keyboards. I play piano to whatever I by ear.
By ear, yeah.
And I can put together guitar licks.
Okay.
I have a system of I'm not really a guitar player, but what I do is I record what I can. I record something, and most of it, 75% of what I record might be sloppy, but I go to that 25%, sample it into my drum machine.
Yes.
Chop it up,
and then play.
And now
that's right.
Now I sound like I can play guitar.
That's right.
So I do. So that's just some of my methods. But yeah.
Mm. And today with the advent of technology, man, it has become easier for people who do not have the skill set of actually playing instruments.
Yeah.
To sound like they're playing instruments. Like for an example, and I know other programs have this, but in Reason there is a something that they put in there called a chord and scales player.
Yep.
Right? So I can literally load up a piano and it has tons of chords, tons of scales, and I can choose one. I can do open chords. I can do first, second, third, fourth inversion.
Yep.
I can do pretty much anything that I want. Choose any type of chord that I want and press a key.
Play it with one button.
One key. And it'll play the chords. And I mean, that's just a tool it just becomes super easy,
Right.
And so with someone like you who is able to play instruments and the advent of technology, do you kind of consider that like cheating? That you can play instruments, but then other producers can just press a button and kind of...
In a way, but in a way I feel like, let's say somebody who never took the time to learn any music theory, that might, in a way that it hinder them from learning. On the other hand, you can lay all these charts out for people and all these different chords for them to use. But if their ear doesn't know what sounds good together, that still won't work for them. So even somebody who never played before, if they know the G chord sounds good with the F chord, and they put something together that makes sense, okay, they don't know how to play, but their ear understands it. So they don't have it here, but they got it here. So it's kind of a, it's kind of a. If you do it by hand, you'll learn the side of it that you don't understand. You'll understand the mechanical side of it,
right?
As well as what you already know up top. So it's something like you can it's good to do it, but I don't want to say you have to do it, but it's like if you put your hands on the keys, you'll learn that physical side of it,
right?
And you'll learn how to embellish, and change things more to your flavor. You can still, take whatever chord, a ninth, and then add a different note and dirty it up a bit, and stuff like that. So it's kind of it's cheating, but you still have to have it upstairs. It's cheating, but if you still got to have it upstairs to use the cheat.
Right.
Is what I'm saying.
Right. You kind of like video games. You got a little cheat code. You can still play the game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if you want to have infinite ammo, why not put a cheat code in, right? So that's kind of, I mean, even the machine kind of does the same thing. The machine has like a chord, button that you can press and you can play the chord.
Yeah, it's in the MPC Live, And actually, I'll use that just to make it easier on the pads. I'll say I know that I'm playing something in the key of F and put it there, and they'll lay out the F minor notes, and then I can just go right to them. I don't necessarily need it, but I can go faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I use a little.
Yeah. Well, I got cheat codes all day.
Right.
Cheat codes all day. But one of the questions I did want to ask you, and I know we had kind of talked about this previously, just the state of music today. I want to get your thoughts on that. For someone who's been a connoisseur of music for some time, what do you kind of see as some of the differences in between kind of when you was growing up making music and listening to the music you were listening to kind of where music is now and the trajectory that you see music going towards?
Okay, so let's, back in the 90s, there was more, I would say there was more, just a little bit, originality. It was hard to find two groups that sonically sounded the same and looked the same and even rapped or sang about the same things. And I'm not, I don't want to sound like I'm coming down, it's not young people's fault. They're just doing what the industry dictates. So now, here comes the puffy era in the 98 and now everybody's doing, the shiny suits and the music sounds more bright, it's more poppy. And, even Jay-Z followed that trend and I guess to a great financial gain. But I was, I like that Reasonable Doubt. You went from Reasonable Doubt to Hard Night. I'm like,
Reasonable Doubt was.
What was the album? What was it? Was it Hard Night Volume 1? Had the whole song, the whole album was full of radio tunes. Anyway, it was just it's I guess the influence of money, and the industry on the type of music we make. That's why a lot of people are following the formula, and like today, everybody, even in hip hop, I hear what to me sounds and feels like generic boom bap now, and generic. Everybody wants to make a hot beat, and hot beats are good, but now it's become a formula because everybody's doing it. Everybody, you get you a sound something or a choir, and drop that in, and now you got a quote unquote hot beat. And it's cool to me. I like to make hot beats every now and then, but it's like cliche, So for me, it's always like I'm a big Earth, Wind and Fire fan. I listen, being a musician, you got to listen to the old school to really know what you're supposed to do with the instrument. But that is true. That actually is true. Peace out. God bless you, Maurice White, the Godfather. But he said, Maurice said in the interview, we play from the heart, man. That's whenever I sit down, I try to play from the heart. Yeah, so playing from the heart is what I try to do. I try to, whenever I sit down and to make music, I usually I want to be original before I'm anything else. Even though sometimes I might feel like making a booty shake beat. I might just hear it and usually I hear something first before I sit down and make it. And that's just my process. But I think the music industry and money and maybe people, chasing popularity, chasing clout, will influence them to make a certain sound. And it's people out here, that are doing it that don't really love it. And I think that's going to affect your sound. From maybe 2013 to 2015, everybody was trapped out and it's trap crazy,
man.
trap this, trap that. And to me, a lot of trap sounds the same, but earlier we were talking about Metro. And I can understand a lot of people might say boom bap sound the same. I can understand that viewpoint. But the trap, it was just so much trap and I just got, it was getting crazy. So here comes Kendrick Lamar. And Kendrick changed the course, I think, from 2015. And now, now I like the way where music is going today. Because now I'm meeting young guys who not only can they do trap, they can do boom bap, they can do R&B. These the artists that are coming up now can pretty much do it all, and they not whack, man. I'm excited about the direction that it's going now. But I guess what I was trying to say, coming back, the trajectory from the '90s to the Puffy era to the Lil Jon era, and everybody was hollering and screaming, and everything was bassy, and then Kanye came in. Kanye saved hip hop. Kanye, and I know how people feel some way about Kanye. And I don't necessarily agree with all of his politics, but I understand where he's coming from a love perspective. Just trying to bring people together through love. I understand that about Ye. So that's all I'm gonna say on that without getting too political. But
See, now I got a question.
Okay, here we go. Ahead.
Oh, so when you have people like that who are famous and they've been given this platform and to kind of share their opinions and their thoughts and things like that, I'm not even going to be PC with the way I want to even ask what I want to ask. I guess the question is.
Put it out there.
I guess the question is, why do celebrities utilize, in this case Kanye, since we're talking about Kanye, to kind of express their viewpoints as if their viewpoints were law or facts or...
I think we put that on.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to ask?
I think it's because when you are a celebrity, you automatically have the platform just because everybody knows
of your celebrityship.
Just because you got a platform just because you're a celebrity, and then if a celebrity might say something that it's just their inner thoughts, but because they said it, I think a lot of us will say, oh, they think they really believe that's true. Oh, I'm supposed to believe that because they said it, and then we get offended.
Yeah, that's the crazy part.
Like when he said, I think he just stuck his foot in his mouth when he said slavery was a choice. I have no idea I think he just stuck his foot in his mouth because just because you're a celebrity doesn't mean you know how to.
Yes.
Get your thoughts out in the, you know what I'm saying? So I think he just stuck his foot in his mouth, maybe, hopefully. But I think that's what it is. I think we respect people a lot more than we should. Like I know you the church, the preacher might say, "Yo, we're not a respecter of a person." But especially black folks, we respect persons, man. Like
I think to a fault sometimes we do, because then we will start to go through the process of really siding with them, arguing for them, kind of being a cheerleader for them.
Yeah, especially if we love a person.
Right, and we don't know nothing about any of these people's lives that go on. All we see is what's on TMZ.
Exactly.
The news.
We love them from their art,
right?
but we don't know them personally.
But we don't know them personally, and people kind of get into their feelings sometimes when it comes to celebrities and their lives and what they say and the impact. Because reality is they have a huge impact on the culture, right? So you say Kanye saved hip hop,
right? Yeah,
I mean he literally did save hip hop.
Yeah, he came in and and even though he was little, I guess he knew he was Superman, and kind of his bravado might make people go a little bit like this, because you hear like Dave Chappelle tell stories about him. But no, he came in and so people like Kendrick are around because of Kanye. He birthed a whole new movement.
Yes,
and so trap kind of threatened to kill it. But it didn't. It didn't. He had his kids. You got the children of Kanye. You got the children of Lil Wayne. You got your Post Malones and your Tekashi 6ix9.
Yeah.
Those are the children of Wayne.
Those are the children of Wayne.
You know what I'm saying? You got your Kendricks and your J. Cole's. Those are the children of Ye. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, when you think about it, that kind of is.
That's it. I be thinking about stuff like that. Like, these are your offsprings. People have offsprings. Like Ice Cube in a way is an offspring of Chuck D, even though they're not that far. Chuck D, offspring of Melly Mel. Jay-Z, offspring of Big Daddy Kane. Rakim, offspring. Nas, offspring of Rakim.
Yeah.
So we have offsprings. People. Like KRS One said, I birthed MCs.
He did.
And musicians birth musicians.
The one thing I love about our generation, right? Because we're around the same age, maybe just I think a couple years apart, is that we got the ability to experience the different eras of music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember growing up listening to, I was born in the 70s. So I remember, I know, 70s. Right.
70s.
But I remember
my birthday cake is on my Instagram page.
I remember growing up, my mom playing oldies, Temptations, Four Tops, the Supremes, things like as I was growing up. So I kind of lived through that and listened to that type of music, and then it gravitated towards hip hop. And you talking about that's when I was getting into like NWA and those types of groups from the West Coast, and then you have the East Coast rappers, and they started to come out with DOS Effects and Public. I could throw a whole.
I had dreads.
Zillion names
before I went bald. I'm bald. I used to have dreads.
Hey,
and you find a picture.
You find a picture, post that on Instagram.
But yeah,
right? But listening to, so we got the chance to experience, Rakim and Nas and Public Enemy and KRS-One, and then getting into the 90s where you got your Puffs and your Biggies and your Tupacs, and then your LLs and your Run DMCs, and going from there into the 2000s, you got your Nellies, and then we got a chance to see a true progression of music and how it's changed and how it has impacted. Because back in the day, people would go, "Oh, hip hop is going to die. It's not going to have the impact that it's going to have."
They thought it was.
And now, if you look at it, hip hop is the most influential culture of music in the world.
Right.
We influence
in the world.
Hip hop influences everything. Products, car commercials. I mean, you think about it. It influences and impacts everything.
But in a way, from the early days. Now, of course, not. Now it started when we were just babies in the early 70s. But there was a point where, they stopped emceeing over the disco breaks, and then that's when Sugar Hill came out, and there was kind of a dying point. Did you see the documentary? I think it's Netflix, the hip hop, the hip hop history documentary. Man, that's so dope.
Yes.
But there was a point. There was the Sugar Hill album was like, I think, like the ending point of that hip hop disco era.
Right.
And then it changed, and then there was the drum machine era, the Suck MCs, Run DMC,
Yeah.
and that was kind of a restart.
Yeah,
that
Curtis Blow came out and kind of reshifted the whole thing.
Yeah.
When he first came out, I think they said he was the first artist, hip hop artist, truly signed to.
I think something like that.
I think so. If y'all know who Curtis Blow is, we
Google
think that's so
yeah.
like.
We just talking about a little history here.
Just a little history, right?
It's a little history.
Wow. But yeah, I mean, he kind of was the first artist to be signed to like a major record label, and then after that came the Run DMCs and the LLs and all those different things. But like I was saying, we really got the chance to kind of see how hip hop has kind of evolved and transformed itself into what it is today.
Yeah.
So in that same vein, what would you tell people getting into this music industry today? What would be some of the things that they need to consider when they step foot, or maybe they're in this game for some time now, but what do you think they need to know in order to be successful?
I would say, obviously, somebody I just read this the other day, or I was on social media and somebody was talking about just learning your craft requires a certain amount of passion. Me, my passion started from hearing, like you were talking about the Supremes, all that. I remember, old soul records what made me really want to be a musician. Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Isley Brothers, and Can Function. I remember those grooves from a baby, and they just stuck in my head. And so when I started learning how to play, I had a passion for music. So I think especially when it comes to beat making and engineering, it takes a while to learn this and to learn a digital audio workstation. I've been using the same one for years. Cubase was the one I started on, and once I started to get proficient in it, why switch?
Yep.
But I would say do it. If you love it, it'll help to love what you do, because you're going to need that passion to learn all the different facets of doing what you need to do. Let's say if you're just a rapper, if your passion will dictate how good you become, how better you get as a rapper, as a musician, as a beat maker. So I think passion is a big thing that you would need. Some people, I don't know, you just need that drive. Maybe it's clout. As long as it drives you to be great.
Right.
You just need that inner drive to keep pushing. Because once you look up, and in my case, I thought I was going to be a star by 25, and things just didn't happen that way. I think the hip hop game is like trying to get in the NFL or trying to get in the NBA. You could be a superstar player, and things might not go the way you want them to go. I just discovered an MC that's been rhyming for 20-something years the other day. I said, man, this dude sound like he's as good as anybody I've ever seen. Me and him got the same amount of Instagram followers. I'm like, this don't make sense. This dude is a top flight dude. So,
Yeah.
You need drive, and just decide, ask yourself why you're doing this. Because if you don't really want to do it, you'll quit.
Oh man, this game will eat you up. If you ain't prepared for it, if you're not someone who has like thick skin, and can't take rejection, and are easily offended, you're not gonna make. Oh, you are not gonna make it.
You'll fly off the handle. Slice little thing.
Yep. Oh, they didn't want to buy my album. They didn't want to take my mixtape. They don't want to listen to me rap. They didn't come to my. Oh man, it's gonna be over, because your skin has to be. It has to be turtle
I'm here because I love music.
Right.
You know, if I was in it for anything else, I would have stopped 15 years ago.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love music. I mean, I grew up with music, listening to music. You know, I grew up as a singer, so I love music, regardless if I was making a ton of money, which I wasn't back then, but
Right.
you know, making money or not. I mean, this is what I love, and so I'm gonna do it regardless if I'm making money or not.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I want you to talk about the album that you dropped in August. Was it August 2019?
Man, I think so, man.
Yeah.
I put together an instrumental album called Master Level Beat Tape. And I have other projects. I've done various projects throughout the years. But talking about the business side of it, talking about the social side of it, you know, we know how to, you know, a lot of us know how to create, but we don't necessarily know the steps to take to get it out there and put it, you know, get in the mainstream and, you know, let people hear it. So my beat tape was the first time I said, I got my studio. I know how to record and mix and master. I can put out something from start to finish. And so I decided to let me go ahead and do it for myself this time, because I got people I work with. But I decided to do it for myself this time and put out a beat tape just so people can hear how I hear musically.
Okay.
You know, so on this album I have a little bit of trap, a little bit of boom bap, some soul, some R&B, some funk, some I try to, you know, encompass everything that I've encountered up, you know, in my life musically, or everything that I've you know, had imparted into me, and just put it on this project. So it's a lot of different flavors.
Okay.
So everybody should find something that they like on it.
Good.
You know, so that was my intention.
Okay.
And it's funny, sometimes you think, maybe I should lean to one side, and then maybe on the next project I lean to, you know, I wanted to kind of make a, you know, collage of different flavors and sounds with this tape. So I'm very proud of it, and it's called Master Level. Look up Steve Chase on YouTube. All types of streaming, Spotify, Apple, Deezer. I don't even know what Deezer is.
D-E-Z-E-R? Yeah, I've seen that too.
But it's on there.
Deezer.
Just look up Steve Chase on streaming and you'll find it. And you can hear it there.
Yeah, I had a chance to listen to it last night. It was dope.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. I checked it out on I think SoundCloud.
Yeah, it's on SoundCloud.
Right. So on his Instagram, he has a link tree. Right. And so I went there and it had Spotify, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, and I listened to the one on I think it was SoundCloud. But yeah, it was dope.
I appreciate it.
So you get a chance, make sure you check out Master Level Beat Tape of my man Steve Chase. You know what I'm saying?
I'm working on a compilation right now of stuff that I produced over the years.
Okay, good.
So
good.
Not necessarily new material, but still material that people need to hear. You want to shout out maybe you know, put some vocals on there, buddy.
Hey, I need that bass though. Then
I get it to you. But yeah, shout out to DJ Rockwell, Damu Wali, AWOL Teray. Shout out to Mike Sykes, Adoration, Kamionet Production Studios. Just, you know, so many people, man, that I've met since I've been here, man. And it's just been a blessing for the whole time, man.
That's what's up, brother.
So I'm and I feel like I'm just really starting to spread my wings and take off. Even though we're 70s babies.
Right.
You know?
Hey, you know, I always learn it's never too late to get into this thing and spread your wings and experience this. I'm gonna use a new word, the focality of music. Right?
Focality.
Right. It's never too late to kind of express yourself through music. I mean, I seen on the news that there was this guy who's 70. He's a trap producer. Right.
Wow.
So it's never too late to get into music. And
What's wrong with 3 stacks, man? Because you heard 3 stacks and stuff. It's I don't want to be a 40-year-old rapper, but he's still dropping bars like.
Why not,
dude? Did you hear
like who is to say that at a certain age that's when, you know, maybe for him or for whoever it may be, they don't want to be that 40-year-old rapper, whatever.
I can, you know, on the way I can understand it. Like, okay, it's kind of a young man's game, but still talking to people. I mean, Jay-Z. I don't see Jay-Z ever stopping.
Well, see, we talk the young man's game when you want to get signed to a record label,
right?
But I know people out there who are over 40 making a killing, and I mean they're not signed to a major record label,
but they got their audiences.
They're making a living off of doing what they're doing on a day-to-day basis.
And that's really all you can ask for.
That's all you can ask. They may not have superstardom, and that may not be what they really want either.
Yeah.
But they're making a living.
Right.
They're actually traveling around doing tons of shows, and people would have probably never heard of them.
Right.
But they can provide for themselves, their families. All their bills are paid, and they are successful in their eyes. I mean, you don't always have to be signed to a label.
Right.
But I mean, I've heard people say that for a gazillion times that music is. I think it's hip hop that's a young man's game. Because country, you can be 100 years old
country and rock,
drop 100 and drop a song today, and you become a star. You're 100, and it doesn't matter in country or rock
and roll. 80 years old, and they still out there.
They're still doing
their thing.
But in hip hop, for some reason, in this genre of music, it's only the young ones that we say in this genre that it's the young ones who are going to be successful. I disagree with
No, you know.
Yeah. I disagree with that. I mean, if you're over 40, go out and make music. Do what you love to do.
I wanted to prod you a bit on on your singing.
Oh, no.
Singing background.
That ain't happening.
Because I was thinking about Boys to Men. Like when we were.
Oh, man. I grew up on Boys to Men.
I was thinking about Boys to Men. I was at work the other day, and I used to hate them.
Man.
Because they made us, it's like, you know, because they had all the girls, all the girls were swooned.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh man, if I want a girlfriend, now I have to kind of meet that standard because they were all.
You gotta meet that Boys to Men standard.
Right, I had to meet that Boys to Men
standard.
standard.
That harmony.
And I was like, but that was one thing. But the other thing is, you know, for black women, man, they really, and even today, but they needed that.
Mm.
They needed to shoot without Boys to Men, my wife might not know how to love me. You know what I'm saying? Because you know they put love into our sisters, man, and it was necessary, man. So you know, and I do a little singing too, you know. So
okay,
y'all will hear it.
We may have to join get a rendition group going.
Right, exactly.
That's right. But yeah, Boys. I grew up. Oh man, that was like one of the first groups that I really heard when I mean, of course there were other groups back then, but when I first heard Boys to Men, Cooley High Harmony, when they came out with the album, when they had them the tan jackets on with the fur.
Right.
Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about.
It was crazy.
The fur on they had the canes. Oh, brother.
Crazy.
In front of like a cathedral. In front of like a cathedral or whatever. Like I'm a true Boys to Men fan. Like most people don't know. Like back in the day we could read, you know, the notes.
The liner notes.
In the album, right? So
that's what I missed that so much.
Because I knew who did what.
Right.
I mean, I knew who the engineers were, the producers were, the singers, songwriters.
When I was streaming, I can't.
Now I don't know who anybody is.
Who recorded you? Who mixed you?
Right.
Who produced you? We want to know. Now I heard Tidal has that available.
Oh, they do?
That's what I heard.
Well, make it available.
So everybody needs to do that.
Make it available.
Yeah.
So man, tell people where they can find you.
@ Steve Chase on Instagram and Steve Chase on Facebook. And you know, Google me, find me on all streaming. Steve Chase, Master Level Beat Tape. Shout out to Keith Turner. Shout out to Derek320.
That's right. Look, you're gonna hear them bass on some songs that I'm gonna do because I need a bass player. I got a song right now that I need a bass on. Oh yeah.
Okay, I got you.
I'm just gonna send it right in the email.
I got you.
And I'm doing like this, like I know how to play. Right? That's how you can tell when somebody don't know how to play this. Like,
right.
Yeah, I don't know how to play.
I got you
at all. But I do know people who can play.
Yeah,
like my man, Steve Chase. So we're gonna be working to watch.
Yeah,
you wait and see.
Yeah, that's what this year is about for me: collaboration and making relationships. You know,
what's up, brother?
That's another point. You know, I'm trying to stop, but you know, the whole pay me. I understand that the pay me or I need to get paid, and on one hand I understand that, but on the other hand, I think the relationship is paramount. You got to form a relationship, and then the money will come. If the first time I see you, hey man, I need to get paid.
Cool. I'm gonna pay you. All right. Great working with you. Thanks.
Right. Exactly.
I'm gonna keep it moving.
So the relationship, is for me right now. That's what's paramount.
Yeah.
Just form a relationship.
Relationships are key. Relationships are key because you never know where that relationship is going to take you.
Right.
Right. If you come straight at the gate with, give me my money, and then that's all you're concerned about, and you have no concern for the relationship that you're trying to build.
Right.
I'm going to pay you.
People don't really have problem paying, but let me see who you are first. Let me see if you're worth the money first.
Yeah, I'm going to pay you.
Right.
And that's it. I'm going to pay. Great. Thanks for working with me. See you later.
Yeah.
I'm interested in building relationships with people so that we can go further in this business together, not just that one time, transactional relationship. I don't want a transactional relationship with someone.
You got it's got to be. Got to have some soul in it.
That's right.
Somebody said, "People are doors. People are doorways. Walk through one."
That's right.
So that's what it's about for me now.
I appreciate that. Well, we're gonna be doing some work together. She shouldn't have said that because we're gonna do some work together now.
Yes, sir.
I still pay him though, but man, it's been great, Steve.
Man,
Steve Chase, everyone. Man, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today. Greatly appreciate it. And ladies and gentlemen, you can check us out at our new time, which will be Thursdays at 7 p.m. at wecreatemusic.tv. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, I'm your host, B. Vaughn. Have a great, glorious, amazing day. We're out. Peace.